Hey everyone, today we're going to be reviewing Unit 3 topics, or the second half of it, which was about writing linear equations. Okay, so on your paper, I went ahead and I clipped out a piece of the STAR reference sheet. So that's what you see up here on the top. This one comes directly from STAR, and it gives you the equations of lines in different forms. So point, slope, slope-intercept, and standard, as well as just how do you find slope of a line. So all of these are important formulas that you're going to need on the test. That I will give to you tomorrow as well. Parallel and perpendicular lines, these are definitions that are not going to be given to you, so this you just need to know. So remember that parallel lines, what's special about them is that they have the same slope. They are lines that never touch, so they have to have the same slope. And for perpendicular lines, they do cross at a right angle, so they have different slopes, specifically opposite and reciprocal. Okay, so what that means is if you had something like 7/9, when you change it, it's going to come negative 9/7. So one's positive, one's negative, and then whatever's at the bottom goes to the top, whatever's at the top goes to the bottom. So switched and flipped. Okay, so like our other reviews, there's two columns. We are going to do the left column, so the side that says we do, that's what's going to be in this video, and I'm going to leave the I do side for you to work on your own. So let's look at the we do. The very first one says, what is the equation in point slope form of the line that passes through the point 9, -5 and has a slope of 7/3? So they want point slope form. If you look at this notes up here, here's point slope form. So that's the easiest one, I think, because all you really have to do is plug in numbers. Slope is that one, and then x1 and y1 come from the point. So for us, we have 9, -5 as our point, so that is going to be x1 and y1. And then for slope, it says slope of 7/3. So that's going to be m. All we got to do is plug all of this in. Okay, so y minus, it says y1 is -5, equals, then m is 7/3, x minus x1, which we have labeled as 9. So now once you plug everything in, you should simplify as much as you can. And right now, this is the only thing I see that needs to be simplified. When you have minus negative, you should write a plus sign. So y plus 5 equals 7/3, x minus 9. Okay, so there is a question like that on the test. The good thing is that it's multiple choice. So what you're going to have to look for is make sure that the numbers are in the correct spot and make sure that these signs are correct. Okay, now let's look at our next one. It says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form? So this time they want a different form of the line that passes through the points -6, 8 and 3, 2. So -6, 8 and 3, 2. So since there's 2 points, this will be x1, y1, and this will be x2, y2. So if I'm going to do slope-intercept form, one of the main things I need is slope. It's right there in the title. So again, formula is going to be given to you. Let's plug into this formula. So m equals, I need y2 minus y1, so that'll be 2 minus 8, over x2 minus x1, 3 minus -6. My suggestion is to type it into the calculator all at once because it'll simplify it for you in everything. and I get negative 2 over 3. So now we're going to plug in to point slope form. So y minus y1 is 8, equals m, that we just found to be negative 2/3, x minus x1, which is negative 6. So this negative sign is going to turn this to plus 6. That's point slope form. We're not done yet because we need it to be in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go back to my notes really quickly. Slope-intercept form, this one here, one of the main characteristics is that y is by itself, and then there's no parentheses. So we need to take care of both of those things. So let's start with the parentheses. In order to get rid of them, we would distribute. So left side of the equation, y minus 8 stays the same. But on the right, 2/3 times x, you just got to write them next to each other. And then negative 2/3 times 6, I would use your calculator. And when I type this in, I get negative 4. So minus 4. One more thing to take care of is y needs to be by itself. So this minus 8, we're going to do the opposite, and we are going to add. So add 8 to both sides. And now I have y equals negative 2 over 3, and that becomes a positive 4. So negative 2 over 3x plus 4. And that is slope-intercept form. Okay, next problem. So it's going even further. So this time, they say, what is the equation in standard form of the line that passes through the point 1, negative 4, so that's going to be x1 and y1, and has a slope of 3. Slope is always m. So back to our formulas there at the top. We already have slope, so we are not going to have to do this one, but we definitely have to start with point slope form. Make it look like slope-intercept form, and then from there, make it look like standard form. One of the big things about standard form is that all of the numbers have to be whole numbers, but A in particular, that has to be positive. So the other ones can be negative and it's okay, but A, that first number, has to be positive. Okay. So let's start with point slope form. Y minus y1, and we are using negative 4 for our y1, so this negative sign is going to turn this minus into a plus. Equals m, we're using 3, parentheses x minus x1 is 1. So this is point slope form, but we got to continue. So let's distribute the 3. Y plus 4 equals 3x minus 3. Make sure you multiply both terms. And then we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. And now I have y equals 3x minus 7. This is slope-intercept form. Almost done, but not quite. We still need to go all the way to standard. So the thing about standard is x and y need to be on the same side. So this 3x, I want to move it over. Since there's nothing in front of it, that means that it's positive. So when I move it, I am going to subtract from both sides. So now I have negative 3x because of subtraction. That y was positive, so I'm going to put plus y equals negative 7. So the good thing is that everything is a whole number, but bad thing is this first number needs to be positive, and right now it's negative. So in order to fix that, we're going to multiply the entire equation by the denominator of this number. So remember that all whole numbers have invisible ones at the bottom. So we're going to multiply by 1, but we're going to make it negative. This way, a negative times a negative will make that positive 3x. Then negative 1 times y gives me negative y, and negative 1 times negative 7 gives us positive 7. So this is the equation in standard form. This is what they are asking for. So it's a lot of work, but just make sure that you try to keep it as organized as possible, and you should be able to do just fine. And notice that you have to go through all three forms of a line in order to get to standard. Okay, now let's take a look at the back of our review. So I put all the same formulas there at the top again, just so we wouldn't have to be flipping back and forth. And as a reminder, parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel have the same slope, and perpendicular have opposite reciprocal. Meaning if you had 5 over 7, you would switch it to negative 7 over 5. The numbers change positions, and one's positive, one's negative. Okay. So number 4, what is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the point 7, negative 3, and is parallel to y equals negative 2x plus 7? So I know that this point is going to be x1, y1, but parallel, we just finished going over this, we're going to use the same slope. So of the line that they gave us, the slope is always the number in front of x. So we're going to use m equals negative 2. Now we're going to plug this in to point slope form. Y minus y1, since it's negative 3, it's going to turn to plus 3, equals m, so negative 2, x minus 7. This is point slope form. Question says to do slope-intercept, so now we need to distribute that negative 2. Y plus 3 equals negative 2x plus 14. Remember, negative times a negative. And now let's subtract 3 from both sides. And y equals negative 2x plus 11. Now it's in slope-intercept form. So that is the equation that we're looking for. So as long as you do everything by hand like this, you should always get the right answer. But remember, for our test, it's going to be multiple choice. So please use your test-taking strategies. Since it says parallel, that means we need same slope. So when you're looking at your answer choices, make sure that it has a slope of negative 2. See how ours ended up with slope of negative 2? That should happen. So just using that should be able to cancel out 2 of your answer choices. And then from there, the ones that remain, double check that they're going through the correct point. You can graph and then just look at the picture to see if it's going through there. Okay, next one. It's similar. What is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the point 8, negative 9, but this time they want perpendicular to y equals 4 over 5x. So remember, perpendicular is opposite reciprocal slope. So the equation that they gave us has 4 over 5. We're going to change that to 5 over 4. We're flipping it, but also negative. Then the point is x1, y1. So now we're going to plug this in to point slope form. Y minus negative 9, so this would become a plus 9, equals, the new slope we're using is negative 5 over 4, parentheses x minus 8. Now we need to distribute that fraction. So this one's a little bit more difficult. Negative 5 over 4 times x is, you just got to put them together. Then negative 5 over 4 times 8. I know negative times a negative is a positive, but let's figure out what that number is. Calculator says that's 10. And then one last step is to subtract the 9 from both sides. Y equals negative 5 over 4x plus 1. And like I said with the problem right before this, make sure you're using your test-taking strategies as well. So since it says perpendicular, your slope needs to be different. So make sure just by looking at the slope, you should be able to cancel out a few choices. Okay, and then last one for our review today is write the linear equation in slope-intercept form. Right now it's in standard, like that's standard form. They want us to make it look like y equals mx plus b. That's what slope-intercept form means. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. 5x minus 6y equals 3. What we're looking to do is to get that y all by itself. So here's our y. We need that by itself. So let's start out with the first term, that 5x. There's nothing in front of it. So that tells me that it's positive. So I'm going to do the opposite and I'm going to subtract. This way it can cancel. But whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And that leaves me with negative 6y, because I'm carrying down that minus sign, equals negative 5x and positive 3. So if you take a look, we're closer, but y is still not by itself. So when you have a number and a letter just pressed up together like that, that means multiply. In order to undo this, we are going to divide. Everything by negative 6. So left side, y equals, next one, negative 5 divided by 6. So this is going to stay a fraction, but negative divided by a negative makes it positive 5 over 6, x. And then here, positive 3 divided by negative 6 is now going to be a negative number, and it actually happens to be a fraction, so negative 1/2. As long as you follow the steps, it's okay to have fractions. In fact, in your test, the answer is going to be something similar to this, where they are both fractions. Okay, so that's it for the we do side. Now, I want you guys to go through and try doing that right side column on both the front and the back that says I do. And if you're having questions, just look at the one next to it or ask me for help and I'd be happy to help you.